I guess I wanted to challenge the narrative about what people perceive the event and the sport about, because it is so much more than what we see with various events, so the boat race and various things. I do believe this sport is for everyone, and I guess that is a part of what I wanted to prove, that it doesn't matter where you're from, you can accomplish your dreams and goals.
Hi, welcome to Off the Water. I'm Adam Freeman-Pask and I'm here with fellow steward Mark Hunter, and we're going to be talking about grassroots sport and how to get more people into rowing. So Mark, tell me a little bit about how you first started rowing.
I grew up in the East End of London, which is a long way downriver from here. Watched the Olympics in '92 when I started. My dad was my kind of coach as a kid, got inspired by the Olympics. And then I remember when I first came to Henley to kind of do the qualifiers, I think it was at '94. And I remember just arriving and seeing the tents, these kind of blue and white tents, and then kind of walking out just to look at the kind of water and the landing stages and just thinking, this is a world away from the kind of East End and the dirty river that I trained in. But
because you rowed at Poplar, Blackwell and District, didn't you?
On the Isle of Dogs. Yeah. So there's a rowing club called Poplar, Blackwell and District Rowing Club. It's right opposite the Cutty Sark in Greenwich. Obviously it's a beautiful thing to look out on in the distance, but it's probably the most challenging part of the river, with the kind of the working parts of it, with the kind of the pleasure boats, the lighterage side of going on, and the working ways down there. So to come up here is very different. It's very calm up here, very flat, and just to see, I guess, the different people that were dreaming of competing at the regatta, doing qualifiers, and that excitement of being at Henley, I think just drew me in as a kid, and I just dreamed of competing here, racing.
I don't know how you did that, to be honest, because I went to Windsor Boys School, which is a state school that's quite renowned for doing well at Henley now, and but when I did it, there was some success at the school, and there was a bit of a pattern around getting into rowing and going out in the water after school, and it was a bit of a jump for me doing school rowing and then what I felt like going to the regatta was. But for you went to a non-rowing school and then went to a club in the East End and then found your way to racing at Henley Road. So that must have been quite a jump.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when you say it like that, it does sound quite extreme. But my school didn't even know what rowing was. It wasn't even on the curriculum. We never did it at school. It was something I did out of school, and it was quite personal and important to me. And I think that's what was really special, is that I did a lot of team sports, like playing football. I played county level football and various things, and that was the path I wanted to go in initially. But I felt let down by my teammates by not working hard. But when I tried rowing, it was really about being at a club just on my own. I saw what I put in, I got out, and that kind of led me to, actually, if I work harder, train harder, there's probably more potential and opportunity. And then, the different societies or sides of, kind of society with where I was kind of from, I guess I wanted to challenge the narrative about what people perceive the event and the sport about, because it is so much more than what we see with various events, so the boat race and various things. I do believe this sport is for everyone, and I guess that is a part of what I wanted to prove, that it doesn't matter where you're from, you can accomplish your dreams and goals, just depending, putting yourself in the right position, and just, for me, it was lots of hard work.
I mean, Mark, I can definitely vouch for that, in the sense of when I was training with you on the team, you always set the tone in terms of what was a good hard day's work. And I mean, obviously you got your results with your Olympic medals and all that sort of stuff. I think like what you said there though about the regatta, for me, I guess when I first saw the regatta as a kid, I was probably a little bit intimidated by all the razzmatazz about it. But as I've grown to really embrace it, love it, race at it, commentate at it, be a steward, be involved in it, actually the big thing to realise is that is just a bit of dressing. At the heart of it is lots of people that want to have a great time, have a great experience, take their sport to the highest level, that kind of thing, really.
And I think, as you've seen the regatta evolve, is we've all been part of, especially for me in the last 10 years, going to 6 days, more events for kind of women's rowing and junior events coming into play, and the PE changing, so schools and clubs now can compete. How open it's becoming is growing all the time, because we're evolving as stewards, what is the needs for the sport as we keep progressing it. Listening to members, people that compete. But yeah, I think a big part of that as well is the work that goes in that people don't get to see. And where the money that people spend goes into the kind of the trust that I know you're kind of doing a lot of work with now. Can you bring to life some of the things that that money gets filtered into to kind of help with the sport and kind of grassroots?
Yeah, I mean, I was really honoured to be involved in kind of get asked to be part of the charitable trust that the regatta has, joining an amazing group of trustees that have been doing awesome work since it was set up in 1988. So it's been running for 36 years, and it's invested close to 6 million into lots of amazing grassroots projects across the UK. Some of it coaching, some of it infrastructure. But yeah, I mean, it's like when you look at all the projects they've helped support and how that's growing the sport, it's fantastic. Got a nice crew racing past us here. Yeah, like for me, some of the projects that really stand out, so when we talk about how to make positive experiences for people when they come into the sport, something that I really like, and actually we've had just recently, was the Ball Cup. So there's one in the north up in Runcorn and one down in the south at Dorney Lake. And these regattas are really for sort of emerging clubs. And it's a bit more of a friendly kind of goodwill event, really trying to encourage everyone to get out, do a few races, trying to share the medals around a little bit, because it's so vital that your first experience is a positive one. You don't want to turn up and be too much out of your depth. You want to feel like you can sort of get a bit of a taste but not be put off. So it's great that the charitable trust supports those events as a starting point. But then alongside that, the trustees over the last few years have really been working on this kind of hub and spoke model. So really looking at how rowing clubs across the country can be helped and supported to welcome in more schools. And a really nice example of that would be Castlemead up in Leicester. So Leicester Rowing Club have been working with Castlemead Academy, and through that they can, using some of their infrastructure, some of their rowers who are training up as coaches, can bring the school in, can get them up to speed. It's a great way of linking up what amazing assets we have around us with lots of schools that might not already have that connection with rowing. So yeah, no, the trust is amazing, and I'm really pleased to be getting involved, and I hope we can do lots more amazing work with the trust.
Because I was saying, you just touched on with clubs as well. I remember when I was at a club, there'd always be activity maybe in the morning and then in the evening, and there'd be just shells during the day, not a lot going on. Is that something that the trust is helping activation, so those clubs are being used during the day to have activity, the facilities there for kids?
Totally. The trust, and even when I was at Sport England, that's exactly what we were trying to do. Is there's so much amazing sports infrastructure out there that a lot of time isn't getting used as much as it could be. And anecdotally, your traditional rowing club might be really busy before and after work or before and after school. But actually during the school hours, there might be a really lovely school nearby that might want to do it as part of their PE activities or part of their enrichment programs. And actually that's where the trust has stepped in and helped provide some initial funding to get these things going. Tell me a bit more about what the regatta's doing to make it more accessible for juniors getting into rowing.
Yeah, I think this is something the regatta's been working over the last 20 years, I think. When I think back to, the introduction of, we've always had the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, which has always been there, which is known as the PE, which is the big school kind of junior rate rowing event. And, something huge that's taking place this year is that's changed the kind of rules of that, where it's not just about schools now, you can have clubs, which I think is huge for the event and really shows it's opening up. You had the introduction of the Foley Cup, which came in the kind of early 90s, which was kind of junior quads for under 18 boys, so that was something that was introduced. And then you've seen the evolution of the regatta with the kind of female events that have come in. You've got the Women's Junior 8, which is a Prince Philip, so that's another one that's come in, which is huge, and you see the level of that competition rising. And then the Women's Junior Quad, which is the Diamond Jubilee, which I actually think that's the most fun event to watch now.
Oh, it's amazing. Some of the races have been so tight in that event.
And just to see that evolve has been incredible, because I remember maybe the depth wasn't there 10 years ago, but now I think it's one of the most exciting events to watch because it is so competitive.
So it's great that there's parity across all those junior events now, and the rules are standard across all of them, aren't they? Because the PE is now also open to clubs as well as schools, which is quite exciting. And actually, where I work at the moment, actually Fulham Ridge Boat Club, we're going to try and qualify an 8 in there. It will be a challenge, but yeah.
Which is great, because then you have the opportunity that you don't have to be at a school. Not everybody has the opportunity to go to a rowing school. I never, and I know the impact that being at a club and having a group of athletes that come together in the evenings after school or on weekends, that opportunity to race at the regatta and go up against the big schools, is huge. It's huge, and you know, it's like I love doing it at the regatta, and I'm glad that that's been opened up now. So, you know, eights from any club around the country and you know across the globe now can come and compete.
Yeah, I mean, the one that strikes in my mind is the Woodrow Wilson crew that came over from the US. They were amazing, right? So that's what's called a public school in the US, which is actually, I think that's basically what we would call a state school here, isn't it? And they had an amazing fundraising campaign where they are, and they were on like the local TV channels. Their local TV news anchor was like getting behind them. And they raised enough money to get their crew over here, which was fantastic, wasn't it?
And also with that, you know, that opportunity for them to come across and the excitement that would have created in that community, I think is amazing. And then with the YouTube feed, we have all the races. You know, those people that potentially couldn't have come across to watch it live can watch it and support it with the kind of feed we have, with the commentary that we all kind of participate in. And I suppose that adds another dimension to the regatta, how it's kept evolving and improving and getting better.
Totally, and all those connections. I remember speaking to some of the people in the crew, and they had all their funny little anecdotes. Like after doing their erg sessions, they would do like dance parties where they used to put the music on and just have a bit of a boogie. But like they were talking about how much they loved obviously coming to the regatta, but also being hosted by families in the local area. It was such a nice touch where it's like really personal. You're welcome into someone's home, you're welcome into the regatta, all that kind of stuff.
And that's such a unique thing as well. That I was chatting with some friends. You know, one of the director of run at St Edward's School who won the PE last year, and I was catching up with him last week, and they're looking at standing Henley, and that experience that comes with families wanting to host, you know, wanting to have those crews come back and those coaches come back, and they take a great sense of pride in wanting to kind of feed them and look after them. And I think that's when you talk about Henley, you know, being a festival of rowing. You know, everybody in the community is engaged in it in some way, whether they're competing or they're helping out, they're looking after crews, hosting them. It is a truly special event in that sense that everybody is there for the regatta to help it thrive.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us for Off the Water. Let's hope the sunshine stays with us for the regatta.
Mate, it's sun shining because you're next to me today.